Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this final episode for this week of Verbal Assault Livestream. We're coming to you on this Friday, the 26th. And today's subject is Russian fighter jets have been seen off the coast of Alaska. Is this part of the Putin curse? I want to go ahead and just reintroduce some of my panelists joining me for today. Brian Parker, who works in hospitality, speaks from the left. I got Kirk Adair, who I could say he speaks from the left, but he has decided that Trump does actually serve a purpose right now. He is an author and a historian. I have Samuel Kuchera, my co-host. He is center but leans right. And he is someone who works as an international entrepreneur, and I'm going to love it because we're going to talk about Russia and China today. I have Bob, the anonymous conservative from Nassau County. He is someone who is joining us with a paper bag because right now he doesn't want to be held negatively for what he says. But I actually think he's quite fair-minded. Bob is also an entrepreneur. I think working in legal services and doing some things like that. So I want to understand what his understanding of the law is. Lastly, I have Rob Arnold. Rob Arnold is someone who is now the host of Political Firestorm. It's a conservative talk show. It's on the radio airwaves. I'm told that it has a 1,000-watt signal. The show comes on once a week. If I'm not mistaken, it comes on Wednesdays at 6 p.m. Rob is about to correct.
You are mistaken. It's I'll just go ahead and tell you real quick what this leg of Political Firestorm, which has been on in major markets and with big wattage, this is really a warm up because I've been off the air for a while. So I'm warming up, getting the rust off. I'm doing internet presence. We have big internet presence, and then going after locals in Nassau. But also, it's basically a demo reel. So It's Mondays, 6 7 p.m. Eastern Standard.
So it's on Mondays.
Yeah, it's tomorrow. It's
Monday
drive time.
So it's Mondays, not Wednesdays. Okay, so you're not that good. Okay, got
it. So Wednesdays makes you good. Mondays makes you not as good. Where the hell you pull that out of a hat? Do you wear a hat?
I have hair, so I don't need to. Anyway, Russian fighter jets are off the coast of Alaska. The Putin curse. There's been a lot of talk lately with John Bolton and the whole situation with the Democrats should have went further in their investigation as far as the impeachment was concerned. Those on the left will say that Donald Trump has an obligation to Putin. Some will say that Donald Trump is Putin's bitch. Yes, I said it. Not only will they call him a son of a bitch, but they'll say that he's Putin's bitch. So yeah, I don't know. Okay. But, I'd like to ask my co-host Samuel, because Trump can do no wrong in his book.
Why wouldn't you ask me? Of course.
If Russia doesn't see the U.S. as a threat, then where do we stand internationally?
Why would you think that Russia doesn't see us as a threat? That would be my question back. Of course, Russia sees us as a threat. Economic threat, wartime threat. We're the greatest war power on the planet. And at the moment, we still stand as the greatest economic power, as well as influencer, the greatest influencer on the planet.
From the Oval Office.
Kirk Adair, I think Samuel Kuchera is talking nonsense. Do you agree with me?
No, I think that the Russians, it's all, for the most part, it's a game. The Russians have to play in a certain way. The Americans have to play in a certain way. The jets off the coast of Alaska are tit for tat because of our jets in the Black Sea during their Russian naval maneuvers, which you never hear about because the press is not going on about it. The real threat to everybody, both Russia and the United States, is China. The Chinese have been encircling India. They've been pushing their borders in the Himalayas. They've been agitating on the Russian frontier. They are attempting to corner the monetary markets in many ways. Russia and the United States cooperate a lot more than most people realize. The idea that they have to put up a certain show is for an effect, so that they can achieve what they need to achieve behind the scenes.
And what do they need to achieve, sir?
I don't believe Trump is not Putin's bitch, but Trump is cooperating with Putin, and Putin is cooperating with Trump in order to defeat the deep state. Because that's why Gates was kicked out of Russia. That's why Rothschild was kicked out of Russia. That's why there's certain moves going on overseas right now. But all of that has been taken out of the main screen because of coronavirus and the Agenda 21 idea to chip everybody in humanity. So the games have to go on in order to make everything look normal.
Okay, so we're calling it a game, and
it is a game.
Usually, usually a monopoly, one has to land on Park Place or Boardwalk to make any sort of headway. We do know that Trump works in the hotel business, though oftentimes a great deal of them have went bankrupt. Atlantic City would be my example.
Great deal of them? A small fraction. What are you saying?
Okay, fractions. Well,
who invented the game?
Fractions mean part.
Milton Bradley.
Who invented the game?
Oh, I know the answer to this. I know Milton Bradley bought it, but I forget the name of the person that invented it.
The game was named after the Astors.
The who?
John Jacob Astor. Monopoly.
Right.
They invented the game, and they loved it.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
hey, I got a quick question for you, Kirk and Marquis, if you don't mind. Top 5 games, board games on planet Earth. What do you think is number 1? I'm just going to ask for the hell. Let's take
Monopoly.
For 1 second.
Monopoly.
What do you think is number 1?
Monopoly.
Nope, that's what people say, but it's not.
Monopoly.
Anybody have another guess? Take a minute if we could, please.
I would say Japanese chess, and I would say the backgammon.
Yeah.
You know what? I will tell you the list. The number 1 was that right?
Naked Twister. It's one I play.
Number one is chess. Number 2 is checkers. Number 3 is Monopoly. Number 4 is Scrabble. And number 5 is one most people miss that Kirk just nailed. That would be backgammon. So I just wanted to throw that out.
Great. So
Rob,
you said chess, checkers, Monopoly, Scrabble, and backgammon. So
they're all games.
Right now in this game of chess, we're not sure who the pawn is. And in checkers, we do know that we're losing a couple of pieces. We have many of our corporations that are monopolizing mid-sized businesses and small businesses. And then you mentioned Scrabble. And we're hearing a lot of wordplay these days. So since we're talking about backgammon, I'm going to back my way back into my next question. Asking China to purchase wheat and soybeans to win support of farmers. Bob, the conservative, is this the anonymous conservative, I might ask, is this a reasonable accusation?
I don't think it's an accusation. I think the deal was twofold. I mean, Russia and the United States are geopolitical enemies, but we also have common goals. And to a lesser extent, China and the United States, we're in a geopolitical war with them, in a sense, for world domination. But we also have common goals with them. And I think Trump realizes that the Chinese people are starving. They're being starved out by the communist government. They're being put in death camps. They're being manipulated. And this is a way for us to obviously provide some food for their people and also to help our farmers.
Okay, well, according to John Bolton, Trump did not push back on the death camp issue when it came to human rights with President Xi. Does this make any sense to you at all?
According to Bolton, you mean the liar John Bolton? No.
So he's a liar now.
Oh,
He's always been.
He's always been.
He's
alive.
always been a liar. So then why did the Republicans keep hiring him if he's a liar?
Well,
Well,
because
they're
all
all
people.
in it
I'm sorry,
together.
Sam. Go ahead.
You got it. You got it. Go ahead.
All right, I would like to just say this about John Bolton. Sam, thank you. I'm going to say that a friend of mine and I were in the hallways of the UN building here in Manhattan, and here comes John Bolton, at the time U.S. ambassador to the UN. And my friend you think I'm a little boisterous? My friend, this guy. So we end up with John Bolton immediately paying attention to us. My boy John, he just takes up the room. So Bolton responds to John and myself, and we're talking. We speak for about 20 minutes at the UN building. And when we were walking away, and by the way, this friend of mine is the first cousin to the Archbishop of the Catholic Church for New York State. He's a troublemaker too. He'll call me up and say, I'm just sitting here talking with my cousin over a glass of wine. What are you doing, you lazy bastard?
Okay, thank you, Rob. I'm on page 3. Now tell me about page 10.
Anyway, it was an interesting moment, is what I'm saying. What we decided about John Bolton is he's shifty. We liked him, but we didn't love him because he's shifty. And if I said to John, my John, I think he's a little weak in the ass. And I don't really know what's going to happen with this guy moving forward. We liked him. I'm not saying we hated his guts or anything. We liked him quite a lot. But we didn't have any love in our hearts for him after standing there in that hallway, speaking with him for nearly half an hour. You get a feel for a man right there. And so that was my experience with John Bolton. We came out of that feeling like he is light in the ass, he is shifty, and we don't know.
Great.
He was
Great.
cannon on
He's
deck.
light in the ass.
Loose cannon on deck, and that's what he's showing now. He's a loose cannon on deck, and he lies through his teeth.
Okay. Cherokee Black, what do you think about Omarosa Manigault, stalwart?
I don't like her. I never
Why?
liked her.
Why don't you like her?
I just don't like her.
What don't you like?
I just don't like her. I just don't like her. I think she's I think that actually you gotta like this. She uses what she has to get what she wants. But she's not
like
my favorite people. I just don't. She's not somebody I even want to really talk about or get in my head.
How is she any different? How is she any different than the president?
I think that they are pretty parallel in their, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it might it's funny. Yeah, okay. You made a point.
Pretty parallel. I like that. Rob Arnold says shifty.
Yeah, shifty.
Brian Parker, the right often criticizes everyone who exits this administration as being a loser, being shifty, she had a fat ass, or, imbecile. We wanted to give them a chance.
She was a threat to the men that were in power in that group.
Not sure.
Okay, so Brian Parker, you agree?
That's why she had to go. It had nothing to do with her ass or anything else. She's a smart woman, and she was a threat to the power that be. She was in Trump's ear. They didn't like that.
No, she wouldn't.
They didn't like that.
So Brian Parker, I was asking you, if these Republican administrations continuously hire the same person, where does the problem lie? No pun intended at all. No pun intended. Okay.
So the problem is the tug of war of the Republicans, and what I've said continuously, Donald Trump is not a Republican. So if you had a true Republican president, if we were talking about President Jeb Bush or President Marco Rubio or President Mitt Romney, and there was a John Bolton and there were all these other people, nobody would even question half of this stuff. The problem is Donald Trump does not approach hiring and bringing in people the same way that a typical Republican administration is, because it isn't a typical Republican administration. Nobody on this panel will deny that. Okay,
that's his appeal.
Well, and for a lot of people, you're right. So the problem is that Bobby's a conservative. Trump is not a conservative. There may be certain agendas that he's fulfilling.
But John Bolton is a conservative.
And John Bolton is. John McCain was. He was a war hawk. Lindsey Graham's a war hawk. So being a war hawk
was never a conservative. Where do you get that from?
Well, okay, I'm sorry. But John McCain, Lindsey Graham
is a Republican.
Are war hawks. No doubt about it.
Yeah, war hawks.
Did not exclude them from the Republican Party ever at all. At all. Okay. Well, John Bolton is a whole lot crazier, but here's the thing, Rob. Here's the thing. He had credibility when he was there. But as soon as you turn on Trump or you say something negative about him, now all of a sudden you're scum, you're wacko, never really liked you.
I'm not, hey, Brian, I'm not calling him scum or wacko. I'm just saying that
Donald is
light in the ass and that he's a pseudo-intellectual and that he's not really as honest.
Rob Arnold.
But your president is saying this.
You're avoiding the basic premise of this question. And the question is, why do you keep hiring them?
Oh, I got an answer for you.
Good.
And I'm glad you asked that. And then I'm going to shut up for a minute because Bobby had something he was trying to interject.
This sounds very CNN right now. Great question. I'm glad you asked. Let me think about this because
how's that CNN? That's what people say. CNN and everywhere. I'm going to say that you take the good with the bad, and you take your chances. Now, John Bolton has a whole lot of credentials, and so you take him in because of the credentials. You take him in. It's kind of a trust but verify thing, like Reagan used to say. It's trust but verify.
But I hire all the best people.
What's that?
I hire all the best people. The greatest team ever. They just keep leaving.
Believe me when I tell you. Believe me. But I'm going to tell you that he's got a hell of a nucleus there.
My brother, this is a revolving door.
I want to defer to Bobby, though. Bobby was looking to say something. I know he's got something to say here.
Bob, the anonymous conservative, bail Rob Arnold out because Rob Arnold is not answering.
I don't need bailing out. I'm telling you the facts. I'm telling you to take the good with the bad. You take the good with the bad.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear any facts. But, Bob, you were saying?
I'm going to make a sports analogy. Donald Trump is like the owner of the New York Knicks. He's always trying to improve the team.
And everybody wants his ass to leave that organization.
Yeah, everybody.
Hold on.
Get rid of Dolan. That's a bad analogy.
I'm sorry. I'm from Massachusetts, and that has got to be the absolute worst analogy, especially sports.
Because the Knicks continue to stink. That's why. You know.
Okay, so if they continue to stink, at what point do you get rid of the team owner?
Right. But the problem here with your extrapolation off of what Bobby is saying is that the Trump White House doesn't stink. He's saying that you have to always improve the team. Dolan is not doing as good a job at that as we'd like if you're a fan of that team. But this White House is a well-oiled machine. And by the way,
great. Let me just I'm going to have to cut you off. I'm going to use a better analogy. America is apple pie. This White House is full of rotten apples. And all we find out is there's a worm, there's a worm, there's a worm, there's a worm. The question is, who is baking the pie?
Man,
who's got the recipe to the damn pie?
Sam, go. Please, Sam.
Even if there's a worm, and in many organizations, you're going to have these worms.
Right.
Right? But even you got worms, like Rob is saying, it's a well-oiled machine. There is still progress. There has been
a wormy pie is a well-oiled machine. I can open up a bakery with worms in my pie.
Maybe you got the wrong slice. Because a lot of other people got the right slice.
So what you're saying is, if the pie has a worm in it, we don't blame the baker. We blame the apples?
We blame the worm.
You blame the worm.
You blame the baker. You blame the farmer that gave you the apple.
The worm snuck his way in. You got to blame him in this case.
We blame the farmer that gave the apples. Kirk has made the most sense out of any person that's spoken in the last 20 minutes. And he's from the United Kingdom. Isn't that a shame?
How's that a shame?
Samuel, my brother, you got some questions here?
Marky, I want to get back to I want to get back to China purchasing and all the soybean and whatnot.
Yeah.
Yeah, China is in a bad. They're in a bad position. Yeah, so they recently, I don't know, maybe Rob, maybe Bobby, maybe even you, Kirk, are you aware that recently that China made a threat to the U.S. and the U.S. was threatening to decouple from China? I'm sure you guys all heard about that.
Ryan's
What is the word?
Oh.
D what? D what?
Decouple.
Couple.
U.S. wanted to decouple from China.
Cold War.
China made a threat and said, if you decouple, we're going to go to war.
Decouple.
Split.
Yeah, well, everything's
this sounds like Gwyneth Paltrow. Decouple.
Oh, come on, man. Stop hanging up in the semantics of it. Bottom line is pulling back from China.
Decouple.
Pulling back. China.
I didn't know we were a couple.
The CCP
I'm sorry,
is evil.
I didn't know it was a marriage. I'm so sorry.
We're in NATO together. There's a marriage. There's a membership.
Right. Cherokee, what do you think about that? I'm sorry, Marquis, I saw Cherokee trying to talk.
Well, sometime back, we used to
wait, she's a woman. Let's cut her off.
What's that?
We used to be proud of things made in America. Everything was made in America. Now everything is made in China. So I would think that we are in bed with China, because I can't buy a dress that hasn't been made in China. Everything is made in China.
Well, no, Cherokee.
That's giving a lot of our power away.
Let's not ignore Taiwan. Let's not ignore Hong Kong, Taipei. Let's not ignore those places.
It's all related. It's all related, Marquis.
Yeah.
It's China.
We're going
all the same parts of the same horse.
We're going to ignore them for a while because the majority of things are made in China. No one can dispute that.
Why is that?
Why is that?
Because they got 1.6 billion people.
Because we gave them the power to do that. What we didn't realize, what we didn't head in, was that we were making them into millionaires.
Right.
Decades of economic appeasement.
Decades.
That's what it's all about.
We were making them, turning them into millionaires.
Hey, Samuel, let's shift over a second. Hey, Kirkadair, explain this relationship that the UK has with China now that Hong Kong is sort of in limbo.
Hong Kong is not in limbo. Hong Kong has been suppressed. Gone. There's no parliament. There's a mayor that runs the place, and she runs it by the Communist Party. Period.
It was a race.
There's no special relationship, whatever. And as far as Britain goes, Britain is with the present Prime Minister. They were saddling up to China to do business there, but now it doesn't look like that's going to play out terribly well. What Sam was saying about decoupling is that a lot of American businesses, as part of Agenda 21, were shipped to China. All the jobs were shipped to China in order to bankrupt the United States. So consequently, with Trump bringing those things back and stopping a lot of that, the Chinese are now threatening war. They're also threatening the same thing with India over Bhutan, Sikkim, Nepal, Bhutan, and Ladakh.
Okay, Samuel's agreeing with you.
Everybody's in agreement. This is basic. This man speaks real truth with real facts and real history.
You're saying that Donald Trump speaks real truth with real facts and real history?
Well, I was saying that Kirk Adair does, but
he was talking about Kirk. He wasn't talking about Trump.
Yeah, he definitely talking about Kirk.
I was, yeah. I mean, if you want to sign that to Trump, I'm all in on that. But I'm going to say Kirk Adair, he just said, "Man, this is really smart stuff." That is exactly what's going on. We are now facing a Cold War with China because they're not cooperating. They've been having their way. They've been treating America like a cheap slut. And all these politicians have gone along. And so along comes some cocksure billionaire political outsider who is telling them those days are over. And he was making real headway right up until it hits the Wuhan virus. And now you see Russia playing around. That's just for show, those jets. That's just for show. That's window dressing.
That's
and
like
so as Kirk also, yes. Yeah. That's like Russia moving a pawn 2 spaces instead of 1. And as Kirk was saying, it's a game.
Well,
You
would think you would think I have family all over the world, but I actually have family in Anchorage. So I'm sure when they saw the Jets coming over, they didn't think it was a game, nor did they think it was a chess.
I don't give a shit what you think. I know what is. And so does Kirk, and so do millions of Americans. These Russians with their jets, that shit's just for show. That's window dressing bullshit for back channel chatter. That doesn't mean a damn thing. Kirk laid it out beautifully.
Okay, so Bob, the anonymous conservative, can we say that Kim Jong-un and the whole North Korea situation is just for show?
I don't think it's for show. I think Trump opened up the door to try to get them to, drop whatever it is that they planned on doing with their nuclear arsenal.
Do we have a deal with North Korea yet?
We don't have a deal, but we have ratcheted up sanctions. The pressure is on, just like it's on Iran.
Okay, and sanctions has been the situation for decades. So we hear the word sanctions. So the right has bragged about a potential deal with North Korea that could bring about the Nobel Peace Prize, but there's no deal.
Because there's sanctions and then there's sanctions.
We've also said that there's no Russian involvement with our elections, but yet we see Putin grinning and smiling, and he's there. And now we're dealing with President Xi of China, who seems to be pushing his weight around.
Yeah. And by the way, let's understand this. Xi Jinping's wife, she's integral to the WHO. She's a big deal there. And by the way, she also is a singer, and she can sing. She's got the pipes. And after Tiananmen Square, we all remember Tiananmen Square, right? That wife of Xi Jinping, she sang in glee to the soldiers after they crushed Tiananmen Square and killed people.
Okay, Rob Arnold.
She did that again.
Trump is dealing with these people. Okay. Look, Trump is dealing with these people.
Is
Xi Jinping and his wife. These are evil actors.
Okay. So we're saying that China's evil. We're saying that Russia is evil.
No. I'm not saying China is evil. I'm saying
what are we saying? Is China an enemy or an ally or neutral?
Well, they're right somewhere in the middle, but we're heading to a Cold War where they'll become.
That doesn't answer the question.
Yes, it does. They're an enemy.
Ally or enemy?
They're an enemy.
Kirk says
they
enemy.
Cannot be trusted. They cannot be trusted as far as a snake can spit.
Okay. So, in my world, I don't make deals with the devil, and I don't make deals with my enemies because I know they can't be trusted.
You're not in the Oval Office.
You didn't make the deal.
And you're not running the country or the world.
You're right. So here's the question. Is anybody running the country if we're at the brink of this war?
Yes, of course.
Okay, and please explain, Samuel.
Come on, man. Diplomatic relations have to be done, have to be made.
No, hold on. I'm going to stop you, brother. I'm going to stop you because the State Department has been devastated. I don't even want to hear about diplomacy. Don't you dare say Trump and diplomacy in the same sentence because that's an oxymoron. Take that out of the equation. But
that's ridiculous to say. That's ridiculous to say on the face of it. He's engaged in diplomatic missions all over the damn planet. And by the way, Pompeo's got all kinds of great work and great track laid.
We're not talking about Pompeo. Can you give me some examples of those positive relationships?
Sure. How about Poland? The deal with Poland buying all those jets from us. We go on and on with these examples, Marquis. Its president has struck up deals left, right, and sideways.
And who is Poland?
Poland. So, can you hear me?
I can hear you. I just can't understand you.
I'm telling you that the country of Poland has a deal.
Poland.
The Poles. Warsaw. So,
right.
So I'm going to say that Trump has struck so many deals. The only real question now.
Come on. No. Keep going. Poland and who else? Come on.
Taiwan.
Taiwan. The real question now is, will good win or will evil win? And that's what the world community has to decide. They have to understand stand with with the U.S. because you can't stand with the CCP or Iran. And so Trump is just facing down evil. And there's no doubt about that neither. That's not even up for debate. He's facing down evil. And as much as a son of a bitch as he is, and as many flaws as he has, whatever warts you want to go ahead and magnify all over the place, like the scumbags at the New York Times, he's facing down evil. And he's winning. And
Good,
I tell you,
good. I'm glad you say that, Rob. I'm going to cut you off. I'm going to jump over to Brian Parker.
Not even cutting me off. I'm done talking.
Okay, Brian Parker. They have said this is a game. They have said chess, checkers, Monopoly, Scrabble, and backgammon. I've asked for the list of names of countries in which the United States now has positive diplomatic relations with. And what I got was Taiwan, an island nation in the Southeast Pacific, not far from the Philippines, which is the U.S. territory. And then I was given Poland, which, if I'm not mistaken geographically, abuts the Ukraine, which has had part of their peninsula taken over by a large superpower. So Brian, what game are we playing? Are we playing chess, checkers, Monopoly, Scrabble, or backgammon?
Hell, I think we're playing hide and go seek. But
Okay.
But you can also throw Saudi Arabia into that mix too.
Oh, big time.
Cool. Saudi Arabia. Let me see. Okay, so let me get this right. Saudi Arabia is the country where the heirs to the throne have fled the country because the crown prince, whatever the dispute is, they're afraid for their life.
Yeah.
Is that the same country?
Yep. Same one where they killed the journalist for the paper. Yep. Cut his
Right.
head off now. Yep. Same one.
Okay, so you're talking no, but I thought that was Turkey, where I'm sorry, I'm
Mohammed bin
confused. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jared Kushner's buddy.
I'm trying to keep up. I'm trying to keep up. Kirk Adair, can you set me straight? Because as usual, I'm all over the place.
And they'll have answers.
With regard to our, quote, Asian allies, all right, he has very good alliances with Japan, Taiwan, Australia,
Israel,
Thailand,
Israel.
India.
Yep.
India is incredibly important because she holds the key to the Himalayas. All right.
Yeah.
He has strengthened alliances in certain countries in South America, but his biggest and certain areas in Europe, okay, which is actually going on with a international military movement right now. But Saudi Arabia, he has made pay for 9/11. He's made them pay through the nose. The ideal is that the big deal is.
I don't know what I'm hearing, but I need silence on the set. Go ahead, Kirk.
They're paying through the nose for 9/11, supposedly for military hardware. No, they're just paying. They're not getting the hardware. They're paying. The deal about manufacturing drones over there is only about half done because they have to come through on their end of the deal, which means let up on Yemen. And they haven't done that.
Yemen, you bet.
Okay, so I heard, Kirk, you mentioned Japan, India, Iran, Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Am I missing something?
Say Israel, did I? No. I said
Yeah, you did.
And it was a great one to point out. He took the U.S. Embassy and put it in Jerusalem. Every president has promised that. No president has delivered. He promised it and delivered. And he is an ally with what is supposed to be our ally. Barack Obama saw Israel as a little sissy state, and he went ahead and tried to get them all messed up with all kinds of terrorists. Trump is taking a stand against evil.
He's taking a stand against evil. So in Israel, where the Palestinians are being pushed out of agreed upon 1967 territories, he's fighting against evil.
Yes, I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why.
In Saudi Arabia, if I may, in Saudi Arabia, I'm still asking the question.
I'm sorry, go ahead, please.
It's Saudi Arabia, where the relatives who are heirs to the throne are leaving for their own safety. And in Iran, which is being questioned for human rights.
Who are they allied with?
I'm not finished. In Iran, which is being questioned for human rights abuses, not to mention deafening poverty in India. These are 4 of your 5 examples.
Yeah, it's a messy world out there. Is that your point, Marquis? It's a big messy world. Yeah. And I'll tell you right now, as it relates to Israel and the Arab-Israeli conflict, the Palestinians they're just being used as pawns or daggers. It's all that is. It's if Yasser Arafat, the PLO leader of the time, summer of 2000, Camp David, if he had taken the deal that the Clinton White House arranged with Ehud Barak, then Prime Minister of Israel, this thing would probably have been solved and settled by now. I give the Clinton White House real credit for making that deal available to Yasser Arafat.
Hey, slow down. Don't give the Clinton White House. Don't give the Clinton White House credit. I might fall off my chair. I don't know if my insurance will cover that.
They did, look, Bill Clinton did do some good, and this was one of his
is that why he was voted in twice?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
This is one of his potential crown achievements. Really, seriously, look, this is serious stuff. I don't need all the chatter from the peanut gallery of the moment, because I'm trying to tell you something serious here. Yasser Arafat was offered, as the PLO leader, 92% of all the land in question, sovereign control over every bit of it. He was offered half of Jerusalem with a Palestinian capital there and sovereign control over that. And not only did he not accept those massive concessions, he stormed out of the meeting. And he had Madeleine Albright chasing after him. Oh, Mr. Arafat, Mr. Arafat. Dumb bitch. She was supposed to look the Prime Minister of Israel right in the eye and say, I'm so sorry, sir. And so when that deal was not accepted by the Palestinian leader, then all bets were off.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull back here. I'm gonna pull back here for a second. I think I need to ask Cherokee Black this question. Cherokee, Israel, Saudi Arabia, and Iran. And I'm going to say this as a gay person, that I'm probably not safe in all those areas. As an American, I am probably not safe in all of those areas. As a male, doesn't matter which way I go, top or bottom, I am probably not safe in all of those areas. Does it take a woman, Cherokee, to understand the human rights issue? Why are these guys talking over the human rights thing?
Men are usually conflictual, and they're prone to war, where women take the time to try to resolve issues.
Okay.
Basically.
So
basically.
Does it take
men are quick to respond? It's a, I got bigger balls than you. I don't mean to say that, but yeah, it's true.
Okay, so in essence, I guess what I'm asking is, why is the human rights issue not a priority to anyone that I'm speaking with on this panel?
Why are you assuming that? You should not assume.
Well, Sam, then speak up on behalf of the human rights issue. I've heard silence.
Is one of the United States of America conditions when dealing with these countries. Put into all of the conditions for all the countries that we're dealing with. For example, we're trying to deal with China. Now we need to sanction, we need to hurt them, because as part of one of the recent conditions to going back to the table and doing business, continuing to do business with China, all those people that are involved with the what do you want to call it? The enslavement of the Uyghurs, those camps for the Uyghurs. Do we all know about the Uyghurs? The Uyghurs are the Muslim Chinese guys, Chinese people. So there's about 1 million Uyghurs that are held in a camp that Chinese government is using for experiments. They're trying to tell them to get rid of the Muslim heritage. They have to follow the CCP. So anyone that doesn't usually gets they end up dead or used as a human experiment. Or
so should we be okay with the camps?
Loses a liver.
Well, it sounds like Germany.
That's right.
Should we be okay with the camps?
Sounds exactly like Germany.
It sounds like the United States, 1945.
That's one of President
Trump's, yeah, with the Japanese, yes.
That's one of President Trump's conditions in going back to the table to do business with China.
Well, not according to John Bolton.
Yeah, but John Bolton is a liar. We've established that.
Which is why he got hired 4 times.
Right now,
everything's frozen.
Pompeo and the Chinese representative had a meeting last week in Hawaii.
Well, just close it and go back into the invite.
Again, and that was one of the topics that came up.
Okay, could we mute Rob?
Has anybody had this
Rob
experience
Arnold
being frozen out from the whole thing like this?
Please mute Rob Arnold Cole. Thank you. Samuel, you were saying.
So, Pompeo has mentioned to the Chinese that you've got to stop what you're doing with the Uyghurs. So they made it a condition that anyone dealing with the Uyghurs in this fashion gets sanctioned personally. Any of the Chinese officials that are doing this to the Uyghurs get sanctioned personally, assets, money, everything. So when you're saying that human rights is not an issue, we stepped back from Hong Kong because it wasn't really our condition. But they are putting some kind of rules and things in place for the Hong Kong people. Like one of them is that Britain or the UK is making room for something like 1 million or 2 million Hong Kongese that can leave Hong Kong and go to Britain on a refugee status or something like that, amnesty basis or something.
Well, that means that 3/4 of the damn island is probably going to go to London.
This is true, but Trump has made the same allotment for here in the States. So some
for the Hong Kongese.
Yes, anybody that wants to flee, anyone that wants to flee the CCP is going to get permission. They're going to get a visa for them.
Well, I don't understand why we would allow people from Hong Kong in. I'm sorry, I hear 2 people speaking.
I agree with you, but that's because Hong Kong has a different relationship with the U.S. prior to the CCP taking over. So they have a bit of trust. I personally would not.
I thought we were talking about America first. We don't have any damn room for immigrants.
How about that?
First,
I thought we were putting up a wall. Let's put up a wall on the East Coast and tell everybody to go the hell back where they came from.
The walls to keep out the people.
They come in legally.
I'm sorry, I got 2 people speaking. Bob from Nassau, go ahead, please.
The wall is to keep out people from coming in without being vetted, without filling out paperwork.
Right, but they come in through Canada. They come in through the East. They come in through the West. So why don't we put walls around the whole country?
We don't need that. What we need is the immigrants that are coming here to have permission. That's it. Come in through the front door with permission.
Okay, but what is the front door?
Vet them.
Front door would be the process, Marquis.
If you're playing prosecution in your country, it's hard to come with permission. You're trying to get away.
It's hard. It's harder to go ahead and deal with those coyotes. Look, it's about legality. This is a law.
Rob, Rob, I understand, but you're moving the conversation. I'm not talking about Mexicans. I'm not talking about Mexicans. I said people come through the East Coast, through New York.
I didn't mention Mexicans. I'm saying that
you said coyotes. Coyotes are
Mexicans. I'm talking about legal immigration versus illegal immigration, Marquis. Okay. That's what I'm talking about. So now, I can tell you this. I'll tell you a quick little story if you don't mind.
No stories, please. No stories, please. We don't have much time.
This is a 30-second story.
We're talking about illegal immigration right now. So illegal immigrants from Russia should not be allowed to stay.
That's right.
Illegal immigrants from Norway should not be allowed to stay.
Right. Nobody should be here illegally, period.
Okay. Right. So we're down to 5, and I've got to stop the conversation. I know you all are upset at me, but here we go. Here we go.
Nobody's upset with you, brother.
We use the word coyote, which is a word that is used to describe those that are carried up from South Central and Mexican parts of North America and South America into the U.S. My question was, why don't we have a wall around all of the borders? If we are willing to let the Hong Kongese, as Samuel Kuchera, my co-host, refers to them, in because of dire circumstances, then why are we not treating the rest of the world equally? Part of the reason that we have people protesting in the streets is for injustice. Is because of the fact that we're not on the same playing field. our president, Donald J. Trump, talks about law and order. We see the laws. I just don't know if we see the order. We have everybody. We have the black people against the white people. We have the Republicans against the Democrats. We have nationals against the immigrants. But in reality, it's not my planet and it's not yours either. Just think about that for a second. I want to give thanks to Samuel Kuchera. I also want to thank Cherokee Black, Ryan Parker, Kirk Adair, Bob from Nassau County. I know you didn't get to speak a lot on this one. Mr. Rob Arnold, I know you wanted to add, and I had to cut you off a couple of times, brother, because we were only down to a couple of minutes, and your stories aren't a couple of minute stories. We've got a great program here. We've got a great program that debates, and we got a great group of people that are very passionate. The whole thing about this show is to get a conversation going. Speak to your neighbor. Speak to your classmate. Speak to someone on the other side of the world. See what you might learn. You may learn something new. You may solidify what you already know. I want to thank you for tuning into Verbal Assault live stream. I'm your host, Marquis Devereaux. You can contribute to our program. We're unbought. We're listener supported. So we have 15 platforms that we're on now: SoundCloud, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, as well as 11 other platforms. You can see us, even me with my sunglasses on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. Subscribe, follow, like. Let us know what you think. And if you want to be on the program, reach out to our production manager, castcrew212@gmail.com, CASTCREW212@gmail.com. I want you all to have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. And with all this chaos, please stay safe. Bye-bye.